Welcome to the In Season podcast, rated R for language.
None of us are doctors or neurologists. The things you're about to hear are opinions of people living with epilepsy or seizures. These are firsthand experiences. Epilepsy can cause speech problems, and the medications are hard to pronounce. So please bear with me.
Epilepsy can cause bad memory, so some stories will be repeated. I'm Pookie. Get ready. Certain repetitive movements when I'm doing specific tasks. I am likely to have a TLE EMU scheduled 7/12. I'm likely to have a TLE, and recently I found that I cannot stop rubbing my hands when I'm washing my face, usually when I'm lathering soap. Is it related to some focal seizures, or am I doing this out of habit? Personally, it sounds like a habit. Rubbing the hands, that's something I've never heard of. Yeah, I mean, not saying it's not possible. I don't want you out there watching this and thinking I'm being insensitive, but I've heard a lot of seizure stories and epilepsy stories, and that has not been one. But then again, you can be the 1 in 1,000. So if you're watching this, maybe, but talk to a doctor. I'm not a doctor. Wish I could help. Anybody got advice for someone who certain repetitive tasks when I'm doing or moving things? Is that a habit, or is that something not something common?
I mean, I can agree with I can relate with the repetitive motions, because I know I've been seen on camera fidgeting, doing something like this with my fingers, but actually rubbing your hands. Didn't they mention something in the post about washing their hands? Again, that's when it happened or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I've heard something interesting all the time, with the music and, the music seizures. There's always, but I have, people do the lip smacking, so this could be just another form of that. I don't know. Like you said, we're not doctors, but
Yeah, like with Mo, he said when he has a seizure, he comes out of it and starts talking his mother tongue, which was
right, yeah,
Turkish. He said when I come out of it, I just start speaking Turkish, and I was like, that's wild. Wake up and start speaking a different language, and he's like, I don't know why, and that's wild.
Very crazy. Yeah.
Another language. Okay, you guys, I'm going to read this long one, so I need you guys to listen and give some advice to this person, because I might forget a good percentage of it. It says, this is a long one, but I need advice. Okay, this is going to be a long one, and I apologize in advance, and thanks to everyone who takes the time to read this. Hi, everyone. I'm really hoping to get some insight or advice. My daughter is 4 and has had seizures since she was 2. She has daily seizures, including throughout the night, and mostly has myoclonic, but also tonic-clonic ones. She's failed numerous medications over the past couple of years. Right now, she's on Lamictal, Briviac, Fintepla. We've been on Lamictal and Briviac for a while, and added Fintepla a few months ago. I didn't notice much of a change in her behavior with any of these meds. Her behavior lately has been awful, and I feel like I'm at wit's end, and she's constantly on edge, struggles to express emotions, and goes straight into screaming and aggression. She can be so mean, and it feels like once she's in that space, there's just no helping her calm down. Big emotions can even trigger a seizure. Then it gets so much worse because she goes straight into postictal state, where she's not really coherent, but still angry and aggressive. The more seizures she has in a day, the worse her behavior spirals. Even after she's come out of a seizure, her postictal period seems to last much longer than the seizure itself sometimes. Sometimes the rest of the day feels like an emotional fallout. I've also noticed she's constantly moving and can't sit still. Sleep is a huge issue for her. My theory is that because when she finally stops moving and sits still, she has a seizure. She's terrified of going to sleep, and she never wants to settle down. After she has a seizure, it's almost like she has to run it out. She'll run around back and forth over and over again, very out of it until she finally snaps back to reality. She's also supposed to start school in August, and I'm so worried because her attention span is terrible. And again, the more seizures she has, the worse her behavior is, and the worse her focus gets. I just feel like I can't compete with both the attitude and the seizures at once. I'm already losing. I guess my question is how much of behavior could be related to seizures themselves versus typical 4-year old behavior or even my parenting. I try to give her space, I try to give her grace, but I just don't know what's normal and what's seizure related. And it's so exhausting, feeling like we're always fighting. She just had a VNS placed in, and we're scheduled to get it turned on Monday. So I'm really hoping that that might help a little. Has anyone else been through this something similar? Did you notice behavior issues tied closely to seizure activity? Any advice or reassurance will be helped. Also, what's this VNS stuff about? The VNS stuff about, I think you should ask the doctor because you should know that when you just put it in your child's chest. But yeah, I think the seizures and the attitude, all that kind of comes along with it. And then she's 4, which it's could be both, combination of all of them. I don't know who has children or not who can say, that the attitudes of kids sometimes you don't want to be bothered. Um,
That's that's so young. I mean, God, I just I that's just so young. Wow. I mean, uh,
Four
that's
It
year
gotta
stands
old.
be
out to me just thinking that poor mother. She
yeah,
already has a 4-year-old daughter who has these issues, and they have her on 4 medications, and she's contemplating whether it's her parenting or the seizures related more to these behavior problems. But her baby's brain isn't even close to done developing yet. She's
right. Yeah.
developing some
Yeah.
really, really crucial abilities at this point, and who knows what the medications aren't doing to kill that, that chance of and peaceful development. I mean, how is that baby going to be able to communicate how she's feeling? What is a post-ictal state? If she gets the zoomies when she's coming back, then maybe that's her genuinely just being scared. Why do I feel like this? Let me run it out so I can feel like I'm grounded in reality. I mean, oh, that poor mom must be thinking so much every time she sees her daughter out of it. And as far as school, I mean,
Me.
start contemplating the homeschool route. See what support you can get, because harm versus good in the public school system, especially with special needs. I would never want to let that baby out of my sight. So
Look at what
God
these
bless you.
medications do to adults
Say that
in the
again.
mental capacity way. And imagine a kid getting the same medication. Imagine a kid getting Keppra, you know?
Yeah.
I
It's
mean, they
Yeah,
it's
could
I've got
always
a
not
few
try.
kids myself. Yeah, that I couldn't imagine. I didn't mean to interrupt, but as somebody who's got a few kids, there were some crazy times when they're older now, but there were some crazy times that they were hard to handle, and I couldn't imagine if they were on some of these drugs because I know what they do to my head. Yeah, I just can't imagine. I don't really know what to say to that.
I mean, like it another treatment for kids is generally the keto diet. That's usually for children. I'll just throw that out there. I mean, but if you want to get anything away from the drugs, if that does affect um, the child adversely, that's just a thought.
Sorry
All
to
right.
hear that.
Well, it's 11:30 here on the East Coast, and I have to finish my dinner. So I'm going to see everyone. Madison, it was nice meeting you, and it was nice talking to
11:30 at
everyone.
night dinner.
Yeah, I'm going to make sushi, or I'm going to make
Sushi.
fish because yeah, you had sushi earlier, so that's on my mind. All right, I'll see
I
everyone.
got
Says hair. Has anyone's epilepsy gotten so bad to the point where they couldn't move good and they don't really brush their hair? There is hair. They don't brush their hair and their hair gets really tangly. Not sure if that's how you spell it, and it hurts really bad when you brush it. When you brush it, do you feel better? Mm. Somebody said, I don't understand this. It feels like you're saying, is a jellyfish hard to be a jellyfish? Oh my goodness.
sounds like a comforting thing for a person.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Says a
Sounds
question.
unrelated to epilepsy to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do my hair.
with what I have, I get unmotivated a lot. I mean, I still get up and get dressed and stuff, but I mean, there are times I'm very unmotivated and I don't feel like doing anything. But I mean, I still brush my hair and do the simple stuff, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes I'm like, damn, I need to get up and brush my teeth. It's about to be noon. Shit like that. Um, then I eventually do it. But yeah, sometimes I gotta be like, damn, I just been sitting here lazy this whole time and forgot to brush my teeth, even though I haven't eaten anything. I'm sitting here. It's one thing I try to make sure I do.
I forget to eat all the time. Like I'll feel my belly grumble and I'll think, oh, I gotta go eat. And then I don't feel like getting up and I'll just sit there and then I forget about eating. And so I skip a lot of meals and I don't mean to, but it tends to happen.
Me either. I don't have eating cues. Like there's nothing that tells me you haven't ate today. Um, I never get that feeling. Stomach doesn't growl. I've went a full 24 without eating before someone asks me, did I eat? And then I'd be like, I don't know because I can't remember. Is there plates in the sink? Yeah, but that doesn't mean you ate. Right. Um, been through that. So I got another one. It says alcohol not a trigger. Hey there, I had my first TC on my 30th birthday almost 2 years ago. Epileptical discharges on EEG. Didn't want to start taking meds. For those 2 years since my seizure, I was occasionally drinking. Some days more like a bottle and a half, a bottle and a half of wine. Partying, going to concerts, etc. Never had any issue. 2 weeks ago, I had another TC and started taking the Lamictal. My question is, can we assume that alcohol is not a trigger for me, as both my TC happened in a time where I wasn't drinking. For the whole 2 years, I've been having generalized discharges on EEG, and alcohol never triggered anything. First TC was in a time of severe anxiety and panic attacks, and the second one a few days after appendectomy while I was on antibiotics. Just want to know if I have a drink or two sometimes, is that going to be a trigger or a problem at all? A trigger or no problem at all? I wouldn't drink because you have epilepsy. I can't say if it's a trigger for everyone. Really isn't a trigger for me. I never really got drunk and had a seizure, but I don't suggest it. And yeah, especially because you're taking medication. If you're always drunk,
Doesn't it just feel like alcohol never helps anything, any condition, or
right.
anything?
You're
I mean,
diabetic, you get high blood sugar. Doesn't help any condition. Go ahead, Madison.
I was just gonna say, like, what I was saying earlier about being, basically a longtime alcoholic, and like she was saying, it doesn't help any situation or condition. So, and from everything I've learned about seizures, it may not necessarily be a trigger, but it lowers your threshold.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't, I wouldn't have any drink. And as somebody who would love to have a drink right now, I'll never have a drink again the rest of my life. And like I said, I was drinking several nights every week, and it's never going to happen again for me just because I'm trying to be here as long as I can. So,
Right. One of the comments says, I am triggered by alcohol. I usually don't drink at all, but the one time I tried alcohol, I had a seizure afterwards. I was told that alcohol and Lamictal do not interact. However, it can increase the side effects of Lamictal and make you drowsy, dizzy, etc. Without being a professional, I think one drink could be all right for some, but definitely recommend talking to a professional since everyone can react very differently.
I'd love to hear one doctor say it's not a problem.
As soon as you said that, my doctor has told me it doesn't technically interfere with my seizures, but it does interfere with my medication, lamotrigine and Keppra. They said it can make it not work as effectively and make you feel super drunk. I know when I was on Excopri, I'd have one drink and I'd be plastered. As soon as you said that, I found one that said his doctor didn't say it bothered him. Mess with the medication, but doesn't mess with the seizures.
And I thought it was the opposite because my doctor told me that the alcohol would lower my threshold regardless of the medication just because of the damage. And maybe everybody's different. I don't know. Just in my case, I was told alcohol is an absolute zero.
Well,
As soon as you said
dehydration.
that,
Alcohol
what you
contributes to
just said
dehydration.
was, say that again, Kate?
My thing is that alcohol contributes to dehydration, and that's always been a
Okay.
trigger for me. So that's kind of another one, just another stressor. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's a great
So
point too. If it has the anxiety just thinking about it, I mean, if
that's a
you're
sign.
worrying about is this drink gonna hurt something, even if the drink itself may not, maybe the anxiety by thinking about it does.
Right.
I mean, you said the perfect thing already. It even if it's not a trigger, it lowers your threshold. You know.
Yeah. Earlier when Madison was like, alcohol lowers your seizure threshold regardless. As you were saying that, I'm reading this, and it says alcohol lowers your seizure threshold regardless. So you said the first part for me, and I was just like, of being a trigger. The hangover is the real danger zone for most of us. Your body recovering from poison, all of your organs are functioning at a low level rate. You're dehydrated, etc. Keep drinking if you really feel it improves your overall QOL, but be very, very careful at any time you're putting your body under extra strain like that.
But you saying the hangover part, that makes sense because that night I did it drinking, it wasn't that night I had my seizure. It was the next morning, very early on in the morning, but it was the next morning that I had my tonic clonic.
Mm. You got another one. It says, I'm on the Mectal, and I decided to stay away from drinking. I was started to get very sick when I was only having 2 beers. Anything harder, and it was worse. As far as seizures, I've heard of alcohol being a trigger. However, based on what you described, it seems like stress is a bigger trigger for you. Severe anxiety post surgery, all would have stress levels increase. I would bring all that up with your neurologist or epileptologist. They can help you answer your questions and hopefully refer you to someone to help you manage your stress or addictions. Someone says you can drink, just stick to small amounts or leave it out completely.
I mean, it sounds to me like the anxiety just thinking about it, even if the alcohol had zero effect, we all know the anxiety is a trigger for almost all of us, at least. So it sounds to me like the stress alone is going to be an issue for them, at least from what I've learned anyway.
Yeah, from what I keep reading, it sounds like it's the stress and anxiety. Got to watch that too. Got another post here. It says, Question: is there anyone who can't cook or go for a shower or clean the house or go out by themselves? Because I can't. When I was first diagnosed, I found out I would never be able to do anything on my own. And when I go to the mall, I can't always walk. I sometimes have to use a wheelchair because of my legs. My seizures make my legs feel so weak sometimes. So I'm curious, is that just me or is that other people like this too? I mean, my family, they suggest these things. Um, but at the same time, they tell me that I don't understand it now that they suggest I don't do these things, but then they're like, you should cook for yourself. And then they're like, you don't need to be cooking. You could fall over in that pot. But once again, are you going to make something for yourself to eat tonight? The mind is all over the place.
Cookie, you definitely should not be cooking. You remember the fryer.
Yeah.
But you
Shower for
can't let
myself.
one-time things stop you. I don't take those kinds of restrictions seriously unless I know I'm in a cluster. And at that point, if I'm in a cluster, I'm, comatose anyway. I'm definitely not there. So I wouldn't be attempting those tasks if I physically wasn't able to. But yeah, I take that as a sore spot. I miss being able to get in the kitchen, and that bothers me.
And the part about shower or clean the house or go out by themselves, I can shower because I'm usually home alone. So you got to get clean regardless who's there or not. Can't be
Yeah.
No,
like,
you
well,
just you
nobody.
take precautions. Get the anti-slip mat. Get maybe a railing if that might help. If you're
Or
somebody
shower
who
chair.
has an aura. Oh, chair. Yeah. And like if somebody who has an aura gets that really dizzy feeling, then maybe one of those handles would help. I mean, I don't know. The shower chair is kind of a last resort, I would think, but
I got a
you can
shower chair right
definitely
here in my
take
room.
precautions. Ready to go.
But yeah, I shower and I clean. I'll cook if I'm safely being watched. If there's
Yeah.
nobody in the house, I'm not cooking.
Yeah. I got a bad deal with leaving stuff going, step out to go to the bathroom. I see something on the TV, catch my eye. Now I'm watching it for 20 minutes and the eggs have boiled and there's no more water in it and all that shit. So
I
yeah,
can agree with that part, but I miss the prep. I can't even touch a knife anymore to, get everything cut up and diced just right and, get it all together.
yeah.
It's the prep. It's the prep. I can understand not turning on the stove or the oven or doing something that would actually like risk burning the house down, but everything else
Yeah.
that was the last step of you can't be in the kitchen, and that's annoying.
I'll cook as long as there's somebody, that's safe watching, like I said. But if not, I'm using microwave and what you call it, or the air fryer.
Air fryer, your chicken and
Or
everything air fried. Anything fast, 10 minutes.
or if I need to, I'll order out DoorDash.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Yeah, so the cooking and the stuff about going out alone, I don't suggest it, but being that I don't have many options, and I don't have anybody to be like, oh, take me here or whatever the case. Like I went to the Weekend concert. No one knew I was even there until they seen it on Instagram.
Come on,
By
we
then,
all want our freedom.
by then it was 3 hours into it. The show started at 7. They're seeing pictures at 10 o'clock. Like, where the fuck are you at? When was this?
But it's shit like that lets us live through you.
We
Yeah,
all want our freedom. We all choose something to like escape through.
Yeah, you got to take those precautions, though. You know, I was out
Yeah.
there, and I knew the weekend. I knew there's going to be lights, and I knew there's going to be everything. So I was like, "Hey, this girl next to me." I was like, I got my bracelet. It's like, you know what epilepsy is? She was like, yeah, I know what it is. She was all excited and shit. And I was like, okay, yeah, I have epilepsy. That means I have seizures. She was like, huh? I was like, yeah, you don't know what epilepsy is. You just said that. You heard of it, but you don't know what it is at all. And I was just like, don't worry. I was like, I'm not going to have a seizure. I'm just letting you know I have epilepsy. And that's what this bracelet is. And I was like, there's a 90% chance that I don't have a seizure. I told her maybe 95, but you don't have to worry.
And something else we like to ask, kind of everybody is, what is something that you're proud of yourself, an accomplishment that you've already, a goal that you've met essentially after being diagnosed.
Well, considering I'm home all the time, I mean, something new. I mean, I build websites, so I wouldn't say that's something new. Uh, I guess playing around and making memes online, that's about all I've really done that's new, really. Everything else in my life, I haven't changed much other than not driving. So, yeah, I haven't really changed a whole lot. Nothing
Yeah.
really new, I would say. So, no new accomplishments, really. No.
But
So,
that's the thing, even if it's not a new accomplishment or a new venture per se, it's still, even meeting like a regular goal is a big deal since you've been diagnosed, because now it's just a more impressive accomplishment in my opinion.
yeah, I mean, I just had to send out emails to the clients I have and just let them know, hey, I have epilepsy. Unless you want to find somebody new to do your stuff, you're not gonna hurt my feelings. If you do, I can still do the work. I haven't forgotten how to do it. I said, you just might have to send me an extra email in case I forget to do something. But yeah, that's about all there is. And everybody stuck with me and happy to, you know, have me keep doing their work. So yeah, I mean, I guess that'd be something that's a positive is I haven't lost anybody that I've done work for.
Lost any friends?
Um, I I had because I work from home building websites. There's only like throughout the years they've kind of faded off. You know, with my age, I'm middle aged now, so I only have like one true friend other than my family. But I have a lot of family. A lot of great family. It's just like friends really. So I do still have people in my life that I get to hang out with and have fun with, and I'm just I'd say 80% of the time, because everybody has their jobs and the things they do. I'm just at home by myself because I was that way before my epilepsy because the work I do. So
Mhm. I got something in here. It says focal aware seizures with euphoria. Been having focal since May, and after I realized what they were, I think I've been having them longer. Basically, sometimes my deja vu type focal seizures come with a feeling of immense pleasure, not the orgasm or anything, just an extreme relaxation and weird calmness, which always passes super quickly, but it is incredibly euphoric for a few seconds. I always have the other freaky deja vu ones where I close my eyes and groan out loud because it sucks and it freaks me out. I Googled this and apparently it's a super rare type of focal seizure. So does this happen to anyone else? Hmm.
I had got distracted. I didn't hear all what you said, but it sounds like it might be something I experienced. Would you mind saying that again? I'm sorry.
It says been having focals since May, and after I realized what they were, I think I've been having them for much longer. Basically, sometimes my deja vu focal seizures come with a feeling of immense pleasure, not like orgasmic or anything, just an extreme relaxation and weird calmness, which always passes super quick, but it is incredibly euphoric for a few seconds. I also have the other freaky deja vu ones where I close my eyes and groan out loud because it sucks and freaks me out. I Googled this and apparently it's a super rare type of focal seizure. Does anyone else happen? Does this happen to anyone else?
Yeah, that sounds a lot like what I go through whenever I have my focal aware seizures. It- I don't know that I'd really call it mine euphoric, but mine are kind of trippy. I don't close my eyes and groan, but I like to actually like stand up and walk a little bit. I have to be really careful because I can get like kind of dizzy, um, and like kind of off balance. But mine, I kind of get like a weird trippy sensation, and sometimes they last just a couple seconds. Sometimes they can last several minutes. But I like to get up and walk around because it's kind of like I said, not really a euphoric feeling, but kind of a trippy feeling. And I figure I can't stop it. I'm along for the ride, so I just kind of make sure that if I do fall, I'm in an open area to where I'm not going to hurt myself. But yeah, I'm along for the ride, and they sound very similar because mine are. I would describe it as a trippy, not euphoric feeling.
But someone in the comments says, "Yeah, I get those too with loud music and or memories of past flooding my mind." Another person says, "Yep, I had no idea they were focals either. I didn't know a lot of things that happened to my body. I do, I, that happened to my body. I do was a seizure activity until bringing it up to my neuro. Sometimes it's worth bringing up, even the small things you think are irrelevant." Someone said, "OMG, it's a female. OMG, the rushes of joy and pleasure. I get that. I'm trying to get to my neurologist to believe that I'm having focal, but they skeptical despite an EEG that would support a diagnosis of focal epilepsy. I've only ever had GTC fits, but don't I don't know what GTC is, but I didn't know all the focal seizures I was having were fits. I thought it was my
Generalized
body."
tonic-clonic.
Huh?
Generalized tonic-clonic.
Uh, yeah, so now I got to go back because I forgot what I was saying. No, I'm playing.
You know, we got grand mouths.
General tonic clonic. Okay, yeah. Then I didn't know all the focal seizures I was having were fits. I thought it was my body glitching and that everyone did that. Well, now you know you're not alone. Someone said, "Damn, I wish I had those pictures. I wish I had those pictures to those pleasure types of seizures instead of shaking on the ground, puking on myself inside, wait, in front of my crush and everybody else." Somebody listed it as a separate disease. Not personally. Fyodor Dostoevsky is suspected to have had focal epilepsy with seizures that sound as if they present similarly to yours. He remembered that during the moments just before the fit, he used to experience his sense of bliss and fulfillment, such as he had never known in his normal condition and could never experience in that condition. His mind and heart were flooded with extraordinary light. All his agitation, all his doubts and worries were suddenly and finally resolved into a great calm, full of understanding. Traveling overseas. Hello, fellow epileptics. Next week, I'm going to be traveling overseas, and I have a question about taking medication on time. I'm flying to Chicago, Illinois, to Athens, Greece, and my flight is at 4:50. So the flight is about 10 hours and 15 minutes. So I will arrive in Athens around 10:50 a.m. I take Keppra 200 milligrams twice a day and lamotrigine 100 milligrams twice a day. I'm just wondering how would I be able to know when to take the medicine on time while I'm in a plane. Also, how do you guys deal with jet lag, especially with epilepsy? I'd appreciate the advice. Um, I've been doing that. I did that before because when I go to Jersey, um, I have a layover in Atlanta, but the flight to Atlanta is 3.5 hours, and I left California at 9 a.m. and I get to Atlanta at 5 p.m., which I don't understand. So I was like, let me just put a timer on, and since I take my pills 12 hours apart, so after I got off the plane, after my layover in Atlanta, I got to Jersey at 2 a.m. and that was a 2-hour flight from Atlanta. So altogether, I'm on a plane for 5 hours with a couple layovers, and that took 14 hours. I didn't understand that. I don't think it actually took 14 hours, but that's how much time had actually passed. You get somewhere and it's 2 a.m. and I'm like, damn, I left 9 a.m. yesterday and wasn't on a plane that long, but yeah, you got to put a timer on like that. I took my pills and put a 12-hour timer on. And I think by the time I took my pills, I was still barely time. Since I take them at 10 and I got there at 2. Yeah, it was barely time to take them for me. Jet lag, nothing to play with. Jet lag, when I go over there, I usually sleep for a good 2-3 days, or I'm up till 5 and then sleep till 7 or some shit like that. My time's all fucked up for some days until I start interacting with the people who live there and their schedules. You guys deal with jets overseas, anything like that? Jet lag bother you guys?
I mean, we took a trip earlier this year that went to different time zones, but I still did the same thing as you, was just setting a timer and tried to keep it as close to those 12-hour increments as possible.
Someone in the comments said, before I had a smartphone, I traveled with 2 watches. One set to my time, to my home time, and one with my destination overseas time. With a smartphone, I can display both of my home screen using a widget. If you're on airplane mode, then your phone should stay set to your origin time, your origin time zone, so alarms and reminders will work accordingly. I never thought of that. Well, if you have a layover, it doesn't matter because then your service is going to come back. So I understand if you have a straight flight there, my time's going to change as soon as I get off the plane and have a switch planes to another plane. But that makes sense for the other person. Turn your phone on airplane mode. Someone else says, personally, I take it when I get on the plane and then when I get off. Being off an hour and 45 minutes isn't too bad, even if you want to do it right when you get to your hotel. Traveling is hard, but the next couple of days, slowly changing your med taking time by 30 minutes until you reach 5 p.m. or 5 a.m. for them. You can push it back or forward depending on when you typically take them. You can do the same thing to go back on your schedule as well. That was kind of confusing. Okay. It says Montpellier on back order. I'm sorry, I gotta see what Montpellier is. Motpoly.
I'll be back in
MOTPLY.
just a minute.
All right. Motpoly. Motpoly.
I've got Montpellier XR as a prescription medication used to treat certain types of seizures. It's a brand name for an extended release formula of lacosamide, an anticonvulsant. It's an AED. It's the first and only once daily formulation of lacosamide.
Okay. Well, it says Montpellier on back order. Hi, y'all. Just giving a heads up to anyone in Texas area or further. I went to fill a script on my Monopoly a little before it was due, June 25th. Since it's brand name and they have to order it, my pharmacy usually has it in about 2 or 3 business days, but it had been over a week, so I tried to call them. Hold time was an hour before the person accidentally hung up on me. I then drove there and they said, sorry, it's on back order. Keep in mind, I only have 3 days left of it. I'm praying my neurologist responds to messages ASAP and I can get a rapid release generic version of lacosamide to get me through this back order. My biggest frustration is why they didn't call me. It's like an acne medication or something. It's literally life or death if you don't have it. Literally screwed the pharmaceutical industry. What do you guys think? I haven't been through a back order thing, and I take generics, and they're pretty easy to get.
But that can be a very frustrating situation when you're down to 3 days. You're not allowed to even place a refill less than or more than 24 hours before you need it. And the first refill on those Schedule 4s and the pills with all the regulations are the hardest ones because you can't put it on, even with the mail order pharmacies, you can't put it on auto refills. You always have to do it manually every month. They don't fill more than 30 days at a time. And mail order, enough said right there. That can easily be more than 3-day delay, especially coming to some like storm prone areas from like out of state. There's a lot of things that can go wrong to get those medications that they say you so desperately need.
Yeah, if you run out and the pharmacy doesn't have it, I suggest going to the doctor. Because if I go to the hospital, they'll give me a prescription for more, although your pharmacy doesn't have them. They'll give me the dose for the day if I haven't taken them that day. So there's also that part. But if you're running on 3 days, don't stress it. Take those 3 days, and then if they don't have it yet, then go to the emergency room and they'll give you a dose. Possibly give you some to take home. I've heard someone say once before. But yeah, panic is the worst thing to do. Try not to panic. The next one.
And that was way better advice.
Thanks, Kate. Got one here. It says, I wake up feeling off. How do I get over this? I woke up feeling like I'm close to getting an aura. Like I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm one wrong step away from getting one. I have to keep locking in. Locking in is in quotes. I have to keep locking in to snap myself out of it as this person cannot spell. I have to keep myself locking in to snap myself out of it, and it's annoying. This feeling is pissing me off. Has anyone ever felt like this? Is there a way to overcome it? I've been doing grounding techniques and I think it helps, but I'm not sure. Please give me some feedback.
It sounds similar to things that I go through with my absent seizures because there's been several times I try to talk myself out of it, be like, no, I'm not having one because, excuse me. I don't know if there's like different levels, but my aura doesn't always feel that strong. And sometimes I question if I'm actually having one. And so it sounds to me like that's what they're doing. They're trying to almost talk themselves out of it. And like when they get angry, that's like an emotional change. And that's what happens to me also. So I'll go from angry, sometimes you be sad, it just depends. But it just sounds to me like a lot of what I do. And it's like they're having probably smaller aura feelings, and they should probably at least make note to let their doctor know, I would say.
Yeah, that is something to tell your doctor. One of the comments says, waking up quickly or unexpectedly will give you a seizure. The brain has a hard time switching gears from sleeping to awake and vice versa. If I don't wake up on my own, it can be hard to get up. Alarm will scare me, make me have a seizure.
I'm more likely to have a seizure when I'm as I'm falling asleep than waking up. That is awkward time.
Yeah. Another comment says, the best I've managed is getting hydrated, usually an electrolyte drink for me. Having a snack and maybe taking an Excedrin if I feel headache developing sometimes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Got one. What is the most profound, ridiculous cure for epilepsy you've ever heard of? I read an article in the Telegraph about a gentleman whose followers believe he can cure epilepsy by setting birds off to paradise upon the genitalia of the epilepsy sufferer. Sufferer, a word?
I just want to know, is he doing this for free, or most likely are they paying him for this service?
I don't know.
It just sounds like a big grift to me.
Yeah, setting the birds of paradise upon the genitalia. The first comment says, sounds like exorcism.
Exorcism was the first thing that came to mind, but when you describe what they're doing, what's the deal with setting the birds free of like upon the genitalia of the patient? I can't have a problem picturing like what the hell they're even doing. At first, I pictured like like what they do at weddings, with like releasing the doves kind of thing. Only it's some demon hunter looking priest dude doing it, and when you were describing it some more, it just sounded like a lot more awkward and suspicious in a way.
This person getting paid for this, most likely.
They must be selling a good
Dreams.
service, but probably no proof to back it up.
Selling dreams. Hi, Chris.
Hello?
You there? Oh, I see. I don't see you, but
Can you hear me?
I can hear you real good.
How you guys doing?
All right, and yourself?
Not too bad.
Um, Usually when we start for a new person, we ask you, what are you taking? When was your last seizure? And when were you diagnosed?
Diagnosed when I was 5, 6 years old. I'm currently on Keppra and Depakote. I take 750 Keppra twice a day. Depakote 750 milligrams. And my last seizure was at least our tonic-clonic one was in March.
It could be tonic-clonic. When was your last aura seizure? Any type of seizure?
I think that might have been today.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my last one was not last Sunday, but the Sunday before that. Diagnosed 20 years ago. So I've been in this. Wait, when did you say you were diagnosed?
When I was a child, around 5, 6, something like years ago,
So,
or year old.
yeah, you probably had it longer than me. Wait, how old are you?
I am 32.
Oh yeah, you've had it longer than me.
Yeah,
Probably around the same time as Angel, 27 years, it sounds like.
Yeah, same
I've had
time.
mine for 20. Angel's 27, so.
I was diagnosed in 1997.
Oh, okay. So let's see here. What was the icebreaker? Oh, the icebreaker question today was that Madison didn't get either.
What type of sushi you like?
What's we'll go for that one next time. What's the most depressing thing someone has casually said to you?
The most depressing casually. Sorry, one more time.
the most depressing thing that someone has casually said to you. Let's say, for instance, someone said this to me. Why are you taking antidepressants if you're still depressed? If you're still depressed, you shouldn't be taking them. That means they're not working. And I take antidepressants for my seizures. So, I mean, that person was just, I don't know, getting off whatever they had on their chest. Yeah. If you're still depressed, why are you taking antidepressants? Tell me you need to stop taking those. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah, right. Um, Honestly, I feel like it's been a while since someone said something like that to me.
I mean, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be seizure related. Madison, you too.
Honestly, I think is last time I broke up with someone and she ended up punching me in the face and I was a bit of a douchebag.
Sorry you had to go through that. Yeah. Madison, balls in your court.
I don't know. I'm trying to think about it.
That was
I'm
deep.
so foggy headed these days that I don't know. I can't instantly think of anything.
Think of anything if somebody made you mad and you're like, oh my goodness, why would you say such a thing?
No, because even though I'm introverted, if somebody says something that makes me mad, I usually just tell them to fuck off. And so I usually don't really pay attention to what they had to say in the first place. So that's why it's kind of hard to stick with me because I don't really stress over it. And I was that way before I had epilepsy. So epilepsy just made that easier. So.
Right.
So that's why I'm not trying to not answer your question. I usually never just let things stick with me because like I said, I just tell them to fuck off. It's not my problem.
Gotcha. I got something there. It says concerts. Does anyone have any good form of glasses to wear at concerts that can be flashy? Some of the concerts I go to are very flashy, but I still want to go to them. Anybody have any suggestions on glasses you go when you're around flashing? I went to the weekend concert. I didn't wear glasses, anything. I just went and prayed for the best.
Well, yeah, but we know by now if we're photosensitive. So if the flashy gets you, maybe it's not worth it. Maybe wait for just some daytime festival type show.
Sounds like a good idea too.
Yeah, I'm very glad that I'm not photosensitive.
You still going to concerts and shows and parties?
Not necessarily. I would definitely go to some concerts, but I haven't gone to too many.
Yeah, been to clubs and stuff. Lights don't really bother me. Like they say, 1% of the epileptic population has photosensitive seizures, and there's a lot of us. So somebody could be that one. You never know. One of these comments says, wear an eye patch. I don't remember where I read it, but covering one eye throws off the brain in a way where strobing flashing lights aren't as triggered. Again, I don't remember where I read this or if it works, but it's something worth checking out. Someone else said, going to Pixies a week from tonight, and fish on the Saturday after next. We'll report back. What's Pixies? I'm assuming Pixies might be a place. I'll just go to the next one. Can serious crisis return? I'm here to ask for help to find out if I should urgently consult my neurologist or not, or if it's not serious and I can wait. I had my first seizure at 14, and until I was 17, I had major seizures, but thanks to my neurologist at that time, I managed to stabilize, and it's been about 3 years since I had the last seizure. I had to take 150 milligrams of Depakine in the morning and 150 milligrams in the evening. The problem is that I'm a bit depressed, my schedule is off, and I can't take my medication at the right time. My neurologist then authorized me to take 300 milligrams of Depakine per day. I usually take it in the evening. That was 2 months ago. I should also point out that the following EEG scans, they concluded that I had a high level of activity at night. For about a month, I've had a strange sensation in my brain, like a sensation of emptiness or expansion of something, and it's only a certain area of the brain. I read that there's seizures where you can be conscious. Should I urgently contact my neurologist because I could possibly have a serious seizure again? The question was, is this a crisis and should they contact their neurologist? I don't think so. I think getting advice from Reddit so you don't worry. But until you actually have a seizure, then you might not want to go. You can ask people on Reddit what's going on. You know what I mean? I'm not saying take their word for it, but I don't
Just
jump to the
compile your
emergency room these
own.
days.
Yeah.
Say that again?
I was suggesting that compiling your own data makes more sense, because then you can notice if there's a trend or a habit or something that actually does warrant contacting a doctor.
Mhm.
But until you have, kind of your own proof, the doctor's probably not going to take you seriously either. That's my perspective on it.
There's a comment that says, always contact your neurologist if you're concerned. What do you mean by urgently? On call? If I were in this scenario, I would call the next business day. Doctors should always be available to at least give you guidance if you are between appointments. Good advice. Okay. Any advice for me? I feel like I'm missing out. This is a bit of a messy post, and I hope this makes sense. LMAO, but I feel like I'm missing out on so many things. It kind of hit me yesterday. I had the VNS surgery a couple weeks ago, and now I've been admitted to turn it on. When I was packing my bag, and my brain went, wow, healthy people pack their bags for vacation. I sat on my bed for 10 minutes, just staring at my suitcase. I can't work due to illness and other stuff. My parents are always worried about me. I like going out, but I always need to be careful with alcohol. My memory is shit, and I hate this so much. I just want to live a normal life and do stuff, but it's really hard. My fear of missing out is getting the best of me. Any advice helps. Thank you. Anybody got a fear of missing out? Because I don't. I had it once upon a time, like I'm missing something because I have epilepsy. I don't go to parties with friends and this and that, but I got over that. It's been 20 years now.
Yeah, it's been too long now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Chris, you got.
my only problem is I still been drinking a lot of alcohol.
Is that a trigger?
Not necessarily. It's my worst, my biggest trigger is the sleep deprivation.
The first thing that came to mind when I heard that was already your new life is not, you shouldn't include anything that might trigger seizures. So alcohol is generally a easy one to give up, and along with driving and a lot of other things that might not necessarily be easy to give up, but obvious, I think is the word that I was going for. If something triggers your seizures, obviously that's not going to be part of your new normal.
Yeah, the feeling of missing out. I think I felt that once upon a time.
Yeah, I get that.
My friends are going to go do this, and I shouldn't go play laser tag. I don't think it was exactly that, but it was something that my parents were like, you shouldn't do that because you have epilepsy. And like I said in the beginning, family knew nothing about epilepsy. It was just like, oh, we seen it on TV. You shouldn't be around lights, or you shouldn't be around in front of your computer too long, or all that stuff. No one learned anything about it to date. No one still learned anything about it. They just go off, hey, I seen on the internet you can have a seizure if you're doing this, or you're listening to music too loud, or you're watching TV all day. Just random things. Sometimes I think it's just tell me to stop watching TV if that's what you want me to do. Instead of telling me it's gonna cause a seizure. Anybody got any advice for this person? They feel like missing out. My advice is don't feel like that. Try to get
Yeah, I
past
mean,
it. It's
pick
hard.
your battles. If you have something you really want to do, get out there and do, then make arrangements. Take the right precautions, and
Yeah,
there's
I was gonna
nothing
say
stopping
that.
you.
You can
There's
do
nothing
anything with
stopping.
the right precautions.
Yeah, it's always nice to actually do something,
Yeah.
whether it's gonna cause you to have a seizure or something.
I got another person here. It says epilepsy and weed and LSD. Hi, I'm a 29-year-old female and I've started having nocturnal seizures in December. So around 7 months now. I've had 3 so far. I'm a pretty heavy stoner. I have been for the last 11 years. I also enjoy doing LSD once or twice a year. Do I have to stop these? Also, my neuro said it's probably a regular sleep pattern and has put me on a pill. Just wanted everyone's insight on above, as I'm new to this world and no one in my immediate family or circle has ever had seizures. Uh, I smoke weed and I say it's not a problem. I'm not going to sit here and suggest it, but I say it doesn't bother me. It's not a problem. I've never done LSD, so I can't really say, but it doesn't sound like something you should do with epilepsy.
Yeah, LSD, you'll be up for several hours for sure. But I also recently stopped taking THC because I think it's been causing me more problems than it has before.
That's good. A lot of people aren't able to cut it out like that, but yeah, I like how you said you did that. Some are
Well,
stronger than others.
LSD
I
could
smoke a lot of
definitely be a
weed, and
psychological
my
trigger.
Come again? Um,
I
Madison, you have
was
something?
saying that LSD could definitely be a psychological trigger. If
Yeah.
somebody starts tripping, obviously that causes, stress. If anxiety is somebody's trigger, then LSD could definitely bring some of that on, not to mention medication interactions. So LSD seems like the riskier part of that equation.
Madison, you got something?
I was just gonna say, as far as the weed goes, I mean, like I said when I first joined earlier, I smoke quite a bit. I bet you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that does smoke more than me. And my neurologist knows about how much I smoke, and she told me not to stop, not to worry about it, because I mean, it's not a concern for her. And she said, until she says otherwise, don't change anything I'm doing. Just take my meds the way I'm supposed to. So, and maybe it's different for everybody, but that's at least what my neurologist told me. So,
Yeah.
It's definitely for everybody, but I ended up um I didn't smoke for a long time, but I've been eating a lot of edibles, and I feel like it's been causing me more problems than it has before. So I have decided for the past like week and a half to stop.
yeah, and I don't eat edibles because they for some reason don't have an effect on me. So I only smoke. So that could be one of the differences too, since you take the edibles.
Yeah. Last time I took edibles, I was telling myself they're not working. I'm taking too many. And then I took too many and I was like, well, I don't like this feeling.
Yeah, the last time when I decided to stop on my, like I said, I've been drinking a lot. I drink pretty much every day. And I took one before an hour or two before I went to bed, but I couldn't fall asleep. And I was like, this is not working right.
Yeah, so I've got a comment here. It says, my neurologist has told me that THC lowers the seizure threshold, making it easier to have seizures when the time comes. Plus, going to bed stone suppresses REM sleep, making it lower quality, hence the lack of dreams for most stoners. Have I quit smoking weed? No. I would like to, though. This is just my opinion and information I have gathered so far. Another one. I think the only reason I'm alive is because of marijuana. I'm open about it with all the docs, friends, and family. My quality of life is much better with marijuana. It does wonders for my back pain and stomach sickness. Plus, it makes me a much nicer person. I've died a couple times already, and it had nothing to do with the marijuana. Now, alcohol is another story. I had to quit that shit.
Once it, that was a reminder too. They said they had back problems. I've had my 2 back surgeries, so for me, the weed was to get off of opiates. So, like I said, it may not be for everybody. Everybody might be different. Maybe it does lower the threshold for some people, but for me, my neurologist told me that, at least for the time being, don't stop what I'm doing.
One more comment. It says, I've tried many different products for THC and CBD, and they all have lowered my threshold and have given me a seizure. I also have nocturnal seizures, so be careful. I'd recommend you stop smoking. Unfortunately, but soon. Okay, I got one here, and yeah, it says epilepsy and open water swimming. Hi, I'm 29-year-old female. I just started having nocturnal seizures about 7 months ago. I am also an endurance open water swimmer. Is this something I have to stop now? It's the only thing that keeps me sane, and the prospect of losing it makes me depressed. Are there any open water swimmers here to do with epilepsy? Is all hope lost for me? I'm assuming you guys don't open water swim.
Nope,
Leave
haven't
some-
done that since there was too many shark attacks.
Oh, so you don't swim because not because you're epilepsy. You don't swim because of the sharks.
Yeah, I'll still go in the pool.
Oh, nice.
No life vest, no floaties.
Not me. I don't trust it. Might
Hey,
wander
Angel,
off
what
into
were you
deep
talking
end.
about on that last post? Yeah, that last one that got read. You remember what they were saying about the edibles, and you said in the chat they lie. Chris was asking what you mean about that. I couldn't remember. I gave you the thumbs up on it, but now I can't remember what it was. That part that did just sound a little ridiculous about what they were telling who made that last post.
That marijuana lowers your seizure threshold. No, it doesn't. They're trying a whole bunch of stuff to try. I'm sorry, but they're trying a whole bunch of stuff to like get people away from the weed effect, and it's not true. I smoked weed before for a long time, and it's never affected any of my medications.
I smoked weed for most of my life, long before I was diagnosed, and I didn't get my first tonic-clonic until last September. So if weed lowered my threshold that much, since they said I had the damage since childhood, I would have thought that I would have, with as much as I smoked, I would have thought it would have done something to me a long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do kind of agree with, but like where there's a difference between smoking and edibles, you know?
Right?
yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't do edibles, so
And I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I I have been eating edibles for the past like year and a half instead of smoking, simply because where I live, I can't really smoke. And if I smoked, I would be doing dabs, and it would put me in a lot of paranoia and all that.
I had a medical marijuana card, and I got that through my neurologist because I talked to him like, would this help?
And before you all say anything else, it's kind of funny. My last neurologist, I tried getting a medical marijuana card, and she's like, "You can probably find it cheaper somewhere else." And I was like, "I don't want to find it cheaper somewhere else. I just want to be able to have it legally."
I feel bad for y'all because where I live, it's legal recreationally, and because I do actually have a medical card, I'm able to legally grow, and I can have at least a pound in my possession at any given time. So
And I'm
I
in
feel for
California.
y'all that can't do.
I'm in
Yeah.
California. We pretty much got the same stuff, if not better.
Pennsylvania's trying to make it legal, but then again, you can just walk right over to Jersey, basically, and it's legal there.
Walk right
Yeah,
over Jersey.
I live in New Hampshire, and you can't get it fucking like anywhere.
Yeah, here you don't need a card or nothing. You can walk around with 3 ounces on you, but in your home, I actually don't know how much in your home because I've never asked. But yeah,
Yeah,
we have
with
no
me
reason.
having a medical card, it's a little bit different. I mean, it is legal recreationally here, but a medical card, I have a lot more benefits that most people don't have. Like I can grow 6 plants in each stage, flowering, and the different stages that the plants come in. I can grow 6 plants in each stage, so I basically have an endless supply. I wish that I could share with everybody that needed it.
I wish you could too. I think California. I
Yeah,
think I heard something like 10 plants. So, but yeah,
yeah. It's been a long time since I actually smoked some weed, though, instead of eating.
I think you'll love it these days.
I have a
Um,
magic butter machine, even though they don't work for me. I can make edibles for other people. So I wish you lived closer, or I live closer to you, because I can make all the edibles you wanted.
yeah, I'm good at butter. Yeah, I make a lot of butter. Um, I heard it's pretty good. Um, yeah, for some reason, when I did make butter, we were eating it with just like random shit, scrambling eggs, making toast, making breakfast with wheat butter.
That's what's great about it, because you make the butter, you can put it on whatever the hell you want.
That's what we were doing.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe we should stop this. Maybe the eggs, and the dinner, and the ground beef for the spaghetti don't need wheat butter. But we
But
have kids around, so we're like, hey, we got spaghetti that's getting us high and cooking while we're smoking.
I'm at the point in my life where I want to try to be 100% sober, whether it's nicotine, marijuana, or alcohol. I've been doing that for the past 20 something years.
Good for you, man. That's a good goal. I
And
hope you
we're
get
happy
there.
to be along with you on the journey.
I appreciate that.
We kind of deterred a little bit from the open water swimming. Anybody got any advice for open water swimmers?
I don't really do that.
Don't do it alone.
Oh yeah.
I wish my mom still had her pool at her house.
Were you a good swimmer?
I mean, I know how to swim, but I don't know if I was a good swimmer.
Okay. One of the comments says, I don't
Yeah,
think the
don't do it
answer.
alone. That's all.
Say that again.
Don't do it alone. Make sure it's somebody who can get you out of the pool and knows your seizure stuff, knows where your rescue medicines are or whatever. You know,
Yeah, I think you can do a lot of things. Just take precautions, and the swimming isn't for me. I wander off from my seizures, and that's a little much because you don't know I'm
I
having a seizure, and I just wander off and shit, and I can wander into the deep end. And you think I'm just going there, and I'm not there at all. Yeah,
Yeah, I get that. And I like for 90% of the seizures, or I would say like 99% of the seizures I've had in my life has all been nocturnal, but I feel like I've been recently in the past year I've been having like absence seizures and seizures like that, where I'm just kind of like not understanding where I am and what I'm saying.
okay. Um, I was going to ask you what's an absence seizure like for you?
Um, an absence seizure where I'm like trying to tell someone like, hey, so I basically run a kitchen, a pizza kitchen, and I'm telling people to do this and that and that and that and this, but I can't really think of the word that I'm supposed to tell them. You know what I'm saying?
Is
Where it's
that
like you know the word, but you can't find it.
Exactly. Like I
that's
know
an
this
absence
word, but like
seizure?
I can't think of the actual saying that I should be saying.
That happens to me so much.
Every day.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do that every day, all the time.
But
So
yeah,
yeah, mine are
this
just
is
during the seizure.
this has shown has started to me recently in like the past year or so.
Yeah. Earlier this year, it might have been twice this year, or it might have been one last year, but I know one this year happened for sure. Um, just start wandering off lately. It's different type of seizures. I'm not. Someone said it's focal aware. Someone said it's, but I'm not aware because I wake up in weird places, and then focal unaware. Someone told me it could actually be complex partial. Yeah, there's a lot of different kinds, but um,
Yeah.
I wandered off, and I've wandered into people's homes. Told them it was my home. Told them you need to leave. All kind of stuff. But yeah, myself in some real sticky situations. The
I
most
done the
recent.
Yeah,
staring.
What's up? Go ahead, Madison.
I was just gonna say that's not what happens to me, but I've read, being on Reddit, looking some of the stories, like what you said. I've heard several stories of people doing that, getting confused and you know being somewhere in somebody else's house and wondering why they're in their house, that kind of thing. And mine are just a little bit different because I'm aware of what's going on and what I'm doing. So yeah, I just it's one of the things that I wasn't aware of until I was diagnosed. I just thought there was one type of epilepsy that was all about the flashing lights and everything. And it's fascinating for me to hear all these stories because, yeah, I didn't know that there were different types and different situations and feelings that people have. And, it's just, yeah, it's just fascinating to me as I'm learning about this and going through it.
Buckle up
Yeah.
your seatbelt. I got a couple stories for you. Go ahead, Angel.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and I done the staring absence seizures too. So
Yeah, I haven't.
Yeah,
I don't.
I have had those.
Um. So what can I say? Oh, the seizure where I wander off. I'll give you a couple stories. You might laugh. Go ahead. They're pretty funny. I laugh too all the time. So the most recent was wandering off, and I ended up into someone's home. But for context, I stayed on the fourth floor, and I woke up on the second floor, sitting on the floor in the hallway with no shoes on. Um, but I had socks on. For context. Um, and for some reason, when this guy passed me, he nodded, "What's up?" I nodded, "What's up?" And then I got up and I followed him. And the whole way, he's like looking back at me, wondering, am I following him or am I just going that direction? And then eventually he got to the door, he puts his key in, and I stopped right next to him. And he looked at me, but then he opened the door, and then I just walked in. And I don't know why I thought I was doing the right thing. I told him, I know somebody here. And I think he said, no, you don't. And I went and laid down on his couch. And luckily, I was not killed that day. He sat next to me, and I don't know what was going on at that time, but I think he said that he said something, and I got irritated, and I walked off. All I remember is coming to. Well, I remember the walking off. I don't remember why. I just remember walking off and being irritated. So I went back home, which was on the fourth floor, and I went in the house and I was playing Grand Theft Auto online before I left. So I went and picked up the headset. I'm like, hey, you guys still there? And they're like, yeah, we're still here. And they was like, what happened to you? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I was downstairs. Then they told me a story. They were like, yeah, you were crying, and then we had to mute you. I was like, huh? And as I'm in that moment, I'm like, you guys are fucking mute me and I had a seizure? I'm thinking wrong. But I understand that. They were like, we muted you, but you kept playing. So we didn't have a problem with that. They was like, you kept playing, but we muted you. And they was like, eventually you stopped moving. So we turned it back on, and we called you, and you didn't come back or whatever the case. So I know you can stand still for 15 minutes. So I wasn't gone that long before it says you've been standing still for too long. But they said for some reason I was crying, and they muted me. And then the next day when I put the pieces together, I wouldn't apologize to the guy downstairs. And yeah, I told him, my bad. I think I was having a seizure from what I was told. I did some weird shit. And I have the post-ictal headache, so I know I for sure had a seizure. And I remember bits and pieces of what happened here. He was like, yeah, you were telling me you knew somebody here, this, and that. I apologize. But then he told me he knew something was wrong because he'd seen me have, he didn't say he's seen me have a lot of seizures. He said, I've seen you getting put inside of an ambulance quite a bit of times in front of this apartment complex. So I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what. And he was like, and you did look like something was wrong. And I was like, oh, okay, well, thank you. There was another situation where I walked into another home. I was going to the store, and I was leaving my aunt's house. And in between the store and my aunt's house is a rehab. And I don't know if I was on the way there or back. But in the middle, I went to the rehab, and I went in there, and they said I started yelling, get the fuck out of here, several times. And I'm not going to say luckily it was a rehab, but I think if it was someone's home and not a rehab, I might have not have a best chance as I did. But yeah, they were going to call the police, but then this one guy was like, oh, I seen that guy. Basically, I seen him get into an ambulance quite a few times, a few buildings away. And it was like, yeah, I'll go get his people or whatever the case. So it's been situations where people are like, oh, I seen him get put in the ambulance before. I knew something was wrong. So yeah, there's that. And then there's one situation where I didn't wander into someone's home, but I say it was a little worse. I left work one morning. I got off work at like 7 o'clock or some shit. And I lived 4 miles from work, but instead of going 4 miles home, I went to my hometown and 17 miles away. Kate, you're laughing already. I took 3 buses and a train, and when I came out of it, I was in my hometown. Like, why am I on this bus? So I got off the bus, and then since I'm from there, I knew people, and I was like, I do not like how I'm feeling. Let me find somebody. Let me go to someone's house. So as I'm heading to someone's house, I crossed the street, and I had a seizure in the post office parking lot. But the guy who seen me, the guy who actually saved me, he was like, I stopped because I thought you were someone else. I was like, that kind of doesn't make me feel good. But he was like, once I seen who you were, I seen you get in the ambulance before in front of that building before, and I know your family. So it's another situation where someone seen me get in the ambulance before. That's how bad it is. Everyone knows me. That guy getting put in the ambulance over there, basically. That's the guy that got put in the ambulance in front of that building and that building and that building. Because all these were in different cities. So yeah. Um, oh, and then when I explained that situation to someone else, this guy I know at the smoke shop, kind of got close to him, um, buying stuff from him so often. Um, and I told him the story, and he was like, I think you went through something like that here. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, there was one time you came in here and you were kind of looking a little weird. He was like, but I didn't really say anything. He was like, I didn't think much of it. And he was like, basically the little the circle to the middle of the store has like clothes and bongs and stuff like that. And he said I was circling it, going around and around for like 20 minutes, just going around looking at it. And he said he was just watching me, just wondering like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And he said finally when he said something, I said, shut up, and walked out. And yeah, as I put bits and pieces of that story back together, I remember bits and pieces of that day. I remember getting dressed. I remember showering. I don't remember walking around the house, but I remember getting to the curb and like, why am I here? And then I remember at the smoke shop. I don't remember why I was there, but I don't remember the walking around situation, but I remember going there and getting nothing and coming home with nothing. But I was like in and out of it. So as I'm coming home, I'm coming to, and I'm a block from where I was before. Yeah. So those are the wandering situations that can end up horrible. Can walk into traffic, and yeah, I was just imagining how I was looking, just taking 3 buses and a train, and I had to pay for these. So I'm wondering how did that happen? That's what gets me. It's like,
Yeah, that's wild.
how did I pay for these
It
buses and a
reminds
train?
me of a time when I managed to break my collarbone.
Ooh,
I somehow managed to wake up, fall down some stairs, and then wake back up in my bed. And my buddies that I was living with came up and they're like, dude, you're there's blood downstairs. And I ended up getting I obviously woke up and luckily my insurance paid the $50,000 for the fucking surgery.
oh, nice.
So that was one thing I was like, holy.
You gonna turn your camera on? It's all right if you don't.
I just don't have a camera.
Oh, you can do Zoom without a camera?
Yeah.
All right, that's good to know.
When you mentioned running the pizza shop, any seizures ever happen on the job or, just an off day?
So when my seizures came back, so when I was younger, I had my seizures. I was around teenage, and they went away. They stopped giving me medication, and I was doing a lot of drugs. I was doing a lot of alcohol, and I think because I was doing some meth at the time. I ended up not sleeping a lot and working at a pizza place where there was no AC, no heat. It didn't matter. And I ended up having my first seizure during the day, which was really fucked up. And I'm pretty sure that's what brought him back. It was either it had to be meth and the fact that I wasn't sleeping. And that was probably 6 to 8 years ago. And being right next to a 550-degree oven, pretty fucking hot. But now I work in a better place where I'm basically running the place and all that. And it's been a long time since I've never had unless it's been an absence seizure. I haven't had a tonic-clonic.
So I also had one, which I had a few of these, which made me think about what you said about absence seizures, Madison. I'm not exactly sure what to call this because there's a seizure where I was laying down and I can remember laying down and being thirsty. And then the next thing I remember, I'm in the kitchen and I'm pouring juice in a cup. But when I come to, the juice is like overflowing onto the counter and on my hand and shit. And for a second, I was like, oh, why am I still pouring this? I'm sitting there looking at it when I came back to. And I don't know what kind of seizure that is.
That sounds to me like an absent seizure. I can tell you countless stories of that. Like I can't tell you
That's
like the wandering
definitely
off
an
stories
accident.
like what you do, but I can tell you many stories of like missing time, and it'll be just like sometimes a few seconds, sometimes several minutes, but I'll basically lose time and I'll find myself doing something I have no idea why. And like what you're saying about pouring a drink or something,
Yeah,
sometimes I'll over pour it, and even when I see myself over pouring it and I realize what's happening, sometimes it still takes me a few more seconds before I can actually stop.
yeah.
I don't know why, but yeah, that's what happened to me during an absence seizure. Not every time. Most of the time I can control and do, keep doing what I'm doing, but there are times where I have them and yeah, it's basically like I'm watching myself and I can't control it.
Or there's another one I had where I don't exactly know what to call it. I just been calling them blackouts. Um, there's one where I was at the train station, and this is why you should not be alone. Um, but I push the limits all the time. Um, Otherwise, I'd be depressed and never go out if I have no one ever to take me. So at the train station, and I remember this really good. I was at the train station, and the train was coming, so I stepped back off the tarmac. There's this little spot. Obviously, I stepped back more than that because the train's coming. Um, when I came to, I was taking a selfie on my phone, and the train was pulling off. And the screen wasn't even on my phone, so I wasn't taking a selfie, but I was like this, and the train was pulling off. You can laugh. That shit's hilarious.
Oh, I've done, yeah, I'm laughing because when you say shit like that, I'm thinking in my head like similar shit that I've done that sounds the exact same, and I laugh at myself every time. But what you're talking about, whenever I explain or tell the same stories like to my neurologist every time, because if I'm not sure, every time I tell her, stories like that, she's like, "Yep, that's a absence issue." So, I don't know for sure if that's what yours are, but whenever I tell my stories that, similar things that happen, yeah, she tells me that those are absent seizures I'm having.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to my neurologist about it. Well, actually, I've been pretty good since I started on this B12. This shit right here is actually really good. I highly
Yeah, I've
suggest it.
I've already made note because I'll probably forget in the morning, but as soon as I see my note, I'm like, oh yeah.
Shout
So
out to
that yeah,
Nature's Made. Yeah, try it. Let me know because I knew somebody
I
who
will.
I knew somebody who was on here earlier. He said he was having nocturnal seizures, and when he started that, he hadn't had any for like 3 days. I think he said. And I think that's what he said. He'll be here and we'll ask him again. But yeah, Tuesdays and Fridays, you guys, I'm always here. I do one-on-ones as well, but I'm gonna move to the next one. Oh yeah, Madison, I was gonna ask you about some of those funny stories you were talking about. Before I say my last one, another funny story. Well, other people wouldn't find it funny, but my second to last job before my family made me retire was I was working at Krispy Kreme, and I wasn't supposed to be by the fryer anyway, and I knew that. But someone needed help. I knew what I was doing, so I went to help them. And I ended up putting my arm into the fryer, about elbow deep, like right here, maybe a little bit right here. And when I touched the bottom is when I felt the burn and came out of it and looked at it. And then I fell down and had another seizure. So what I'm thinking is I had a seizure and I touched it and then it brought me out of it and then I looked at it and then I had another one. So that was
I have that kind of thing with I punched a mirror and I had to get some stitches on my knuckle.
I haven't got stitches on the knuckles yet, but yeah. The next day I was popping blisters with sewing needles. I got the video, but keep that between us. How about one of those funny stories, Madison? I'd love to hear some more funny stories other than mine.
I just sent a picture through the chat on here. Did it go through?
I think I did see it.
Yeah, I saw it.
Yeah. So that scrape there on my forehead, that was I told you
Oh, yeah.
sometimes when I have my absent seizures, I like to try to walk around a little bit. I can get dizzy. Well, that's whenever my ass decided to be a good idea to walk around when I was having that little trippy feeling. And I was here in my grow room and I fucking just fell and hit head first. And I blacked out for a few seconds. And when I came to, it took me a while to figure out what the hell was going on. I thought I was in bed sleeping for a minute. And then I realized I was laying down on the concrete. And yeah, it was just one of those times I was trying to figure out what the hell was going on, and I thought I was in bed until I realized that I was laying underneath my plants out here. But
Yeah, I have a bit of a scar from my bed. What is the word I'm looking for? I likely fuck. I don't know the word I'm looking for.
I know where you're coming from.
The end of my bed part part of my bed frame, the bed frame, that's what
The end posts.
yeah, like the literally the worst part you could have hit your head on.
What's your worst injury?
It was either that one where I have my thing or my when I was talking about my collarbone.
Anybody else? My worst one
I still think
was
the lump on my forehead was the worst one. That one that like never went away. That's the one I think about the most.
right.
So I'd
That's
say that was the worst one.
the one I think about the most is my tooth. I chipped my tooth. I was digging a hole, and since I couldn't work regular jobs, I was working for somebody under the table. Um, you go to Home Depot, you grab a few people, and I knew the guy. He didn't need to go to Home Depot. So,
Well, if you want to talk about tooth, I
Yeah. Mine was definitely, I walked right out to the top of the front stairs outside and face planted straight onto the concrete, and I lost my front teeth.
I basically had a very similar thing. When I was like 18, I was like, oh, I need to go to
Same
the
age.
store and get some cigarettes. And then I ended up I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go on a bicycle that had no fucking brakes. And I ended up hitting my face on the fucking uh road. So now I have 4 teeth, 4, 6, 7, 8.5 teeth that are all fake.
Yeah, I got my front one chipped. Like I said, I was working for this guy under the table, so I was doing something. I was digging a hole to build a foundation for a patio, and yeah, the hole, once it got like to 2 feet deep, I fell in it. They said, and I was having a seizure, and all they could see was my legs sticking up. So I must have fell like this. But yeah, when I got in the ambulance, my tooth was not chipped. My lip was like stuck in between my tooth. And then when I pulled the lip out is when the tooth chipped. So I didn't understand that, but I think maybe it was cracked or something. But yeah, that's my worst injury. What about you, Angel? Oh, I think you said yours, didn't you?
The face plant. Yeah.
You too,
Yeah, I've been
medicine?
pretty lucky. I've been pretty lucky. My worst is probably the forehead injury, because I can't really think of any more.
Oh yeah, I've had some bad ones, but that was the most memorable because I think about it every time I chew or smile or anything. But yeah, don't let it get me down.
All right, well, either way, I'm head to bed.
All right.
I enjoyed talking to you guys.
We'll be here on
Nice
Tuesday.
to meet you.
Yeah, I had a bridge input, and a couple years later, another seizure broke that one, the bridge.
Yeah, that sucks. Well, either way, I hope you all have a good night.
It says, I don't think this is the answer you want, but I'm an open water swimmer and an epileptic. However, I am currently 8 years fit free and 6 years medication free. I've also scuba dived. I had a full dive medical declared, my epilepsy, etc. I certainly can't advise you to do anything against your medical advice. My first neuro doctor told me making these decisions is about risk. What would happen to you if you experience a seizure during this activity? And are you comfortable taking that risk? Another comment says, I've scuba dived in the past, knowing the risk, had to sign a disclaimer stating that I had no health issues. I don't think anyone will promote open water swimming. See you on here. It's up to you. I was more controlled back then and wouldn't do it now. My seizures aren't always nocturnal. Couple more. I've been a swimmer for a long time now, since 7, and I wasn't diagnosed with epilepsy until I was an adult. I don't do open water swimming anymore, too cold where I currently live, but I recommend swimming with a friend or just someone who's able to watch you. My local pool doesn't have an official lifeguard, but someone who just watches over the pool. It's not foolproof, but it's nice knowing someone is around in case of emergency. I'm terrified I missed a Keppra dose. I take 1,000 milligrams twice a day, 2 tablets at 6:30 a.m. and 2 tablets at 6:30 p.m. This morning, when I went to take my medicine, I noticed my pill case for last night was still full. I could have sworn I took them, but I guess I didn't. I just now took my morning dose, but I am fucking scared, and I'm getting vibes that I'm gonna have a seizure. I am up to 8 months seizure free. I only got diagnosed last year, and I don't want to set back. I'm seriously about to cry at work. I know there's nothing I can do at this point except continue my day, but can anyone reassure me if I missed a dose but still took the next scheduled one without any issue, am I probably fine? To that question, I'm not going to say yes because I was 3 hours late for a dose one time and I had a seizure. But then one time I was 12 hours late and didn't have one. And so it's up to you. Double dose sometimes. Sometimes when I can't figure it out, double dose, and then I end up it ends up coming to my memory that, oh yeah, I did take it. That's why this water is gone, this cup or some shit like that. Yeah.
Sometimes you don't miss a dose at all and you still get a seizure, you know?
Yeah.
We're ticking time bombs without
Right,
knowing when the clock is going to go off.
So that's where that drug resistant diagnosis comes back to get you, because when you fuck around and take a double dose, then it's like that medication resistance sneaks up on you faster. And then they start telling you to take double doses on a regular basis, and then you get to your max dose and got to take another pill entirely.
So I go through the comments here. Says, hey dude, I'm 2 days into an EEG with no meds. Usually I take 1,000 milligrams twice per day, and I haven't had any issues yet. Just keep your head up and don't let the stress rule you. Somebody else said, just keep an eye on things and do a little extra self-care. Don't give your body any extra reason to have a seizure. Stay hydrated, eat well on time, both rest physically and mentally when you can, and try to not freak out or panic. That's extreme stress on your body that your body doesn't need right now. Missing a dose happens. You'll be okay. One more. Says, hey, it happens. For some people, missing a dose will cause a seizure, but very, very likely you're not one of them. Do you have a rescue med like Ativan? If so, take the day off of work and take an Ativan. Then you should be set. This person, they're already at work. They said, at work and crying. Okay. This one says, stressed out, traumatizing others, having to be taken care of. How do you do it? I've gotten pretty okay with forcing myself to not think too much about the fact that I have to be taken care of frequently, or at least worried about it by my roommates. This obviously isn't always successful. All three of us are in our early 20s, and I'm the only one who is unemployed, SSDI pending. And since I have one through three seizures a week, aware, tonic, suffering, stiffening, writhing, not breathing, jerking, shaking, etc. Both of them, but they have to be. Hold on. And since I have 1 to 3 seizures a week, both of them have to be on alert at all times. They're both my two best friends and closest people in my life, so it's not like they're strangers that I'm burdening. But somehow that makes it worse since I'm aware for the most part. During my seizures, I get to hear and see them from the calm routine. Make sure I don't hit my head, don't hurt anything, etc. To panic and distress when it gets worse, turn purple from not breathing, the noises I make, sudden movements, etc. This feels like too much for just two people to deal with. They don't act like they're beaten down by it, and they say that I'm the one who has it worse, but I can only imagine the emotional toll. I know the situations like this are common in this community, but I'm just not having I'm just having so much trouble handling it. It's been a little over a year and a half since it got like this, more weekly. I just don't know what to do. I'm hoping some people have similar experiences to chime in and let me know that I'll be all right. The first question was, how do you do it? But he also wanted people to chime in and say he'll be all right. I think he'll be all right. Yeah, you're gonna be okay, man. Don't do anything too rash. But how do I do it? I don't know. I just avoid the drama. If you have stressful situations, avoid stressful situations by all means, if you can. Avoid things that you think might trigger you or things you want to be cautious about. There's some people, they don't even know if they're photosensitive until it's too late. So yeah, these are things you just gotta be aware of if you have epilepsy. So know that. Anybody got anything for this person? They're stressed out about
One day at a
traumatizing.
time.
One day at a time. That's a good one. It's better than me, I think.
I like the no drama too. If you can. But since everybody knows that's not possible,
Yeah.
be prepared and taking care of yourself and you know.
We'll read one of these comments.
Remember, you're with God. God is with you.
Right. Got a comment. It says, "I'll never forget the look." Oh wow. I'll never forget the look on my old best friend's face when I had a tonic-clonic seizure in front of them. They knew I was epileptic, but just being aware that a person has seizures versus actually witnessing one is completely different, if that makes any sense. Yes, it does. Especially if they've never seen a person have a seizure before. It was a gnarly one too. Purple in the face, coughing up vomit and blood from biting my tongue. Yeah, not pretty. When I came out of it, they were kneeling on the sidewalk holding me, tears streaming down their faces, looking incredibly shaken. I apologized to them for having to see that. They just said, "Don't worry about me," even though it was clear that their day really traumatized was really traumatized. They were extremely protective of me after that, to the point that they were kind of basically infantilizing infantilizing me. It felt really shitty and kind of hated myself for a while, overwhelmed with guilt for hurting this person I cared about when I obviously didn't mean to. But I don't know. I think somehow I was just eventually came to terms with it, with this reality of mine. I didn't choose to be epileptic, and neither did you. I've lost touchy. I lost touch with that friend, not because of the incident. Just know life has taken us in different directions. I think it'd be worth talking to your friends about these worries of yours and how you'd seem like them to really be honest with you about how they're feeling and if they're doing all right. Them simply saying, "You have it worse, don't worry," is not only brushing off your concerns about your emotional well being, but I don't know. It just seems a bit condescending, in my opinion, whether they realize it or not. You clearly care about your friends a lot, and from your post, they obviously care about you as well. Either way, you aren't a burden for having a disability, and it's not a personal failure on your part for needing help sometimes because of it. I don't know. I hope this helped, even if it's just a little bit. That helped me. Shit. That was a lot to read.
No, saying you're not a burden and they do care about you. That's the stuff everybody needs to hear and be reminded about, that's for sure.
Yep.
Um, did anyone else feel memory loss before a seizure? So when I had my first seizure in the morning, I was awake and my mom told me, but I didn't remember that I was awake, and also shockingly went to the washroom as well, where I fainted. But I don't remember this all. I don't remember this whole scene at all. Did this happen to any of you? Yes, it did. Happened to me quite a few times.
All the time, almost, except the ones that I'm aware of.
Right. Like I said, the time I went to the kitchen, I'm pouring juice all over the counter and shit. I think that's similar to that. I didn't exactly faint on that one, but still, it was a seizure. Yeah, like I said, I've wandered to the store and shit like that. So
I was
Yeah, mine
cleaning.
aren't that long, but beforehand, I'll remember getting up, but not taking the trip across to wherever I ended up, and it happened. So memory stops always a good 30 seconds or a minute before the seizure.
or I got a situation and I don't know how long it was because we went to Target. I don't even remember going to Target. I don't remember leaving Target. I remember getting home and they said you had a seizure earlier. Um, so the situation at Target was I had a seizure in the store. So I guess, well, not I guess, they called the ambulance and the police and stuff came or whatever. Um, and once I got out of the stores, I just dropped my pants to the floor and started peeing. And then that's when my uncle was like, "Oh, you guys, he's having a seizure. That's why he's doing this." And after that, I just pulled my pants up and kept walking to the car like nobody was around me. And later on that day, it's when I figured out I had a seizure. So, yeah, I don't know how long I was out of it. Had a couple of those situations.
Yeah, I was cleaning one time and I blanked out right there. Still cleaning, continue to clean. Next thing I know, I'm waking up upstairs in the bedroom in bed, wife telling me I had a seizure.
Hmm. Or there was
You
another
think any of the
time.
scents or odors from those cleaning supplies are a trigger for you?
Huh?
You think that any of the odors from the cleaning supplies are a trigger for you?
No, I was sweeping.
Oh, yeah. Was it that dusty?
No, I kept my house clean.
Yeah, so I forgot what I was gonna say, and it's kind of coming back to me. Oh, I really wish it would. What were you saying? For me to remember what I was saying. Oh, I was saying, okay, the
The
thing
question
about
was
not.
about how long before.
Yeah, there was another situation where I was sitting at the dining room table, and I wasn't feeling good, so I said, "Did I have a seizure?" And they were like, "Yeah, you had one earlier. You've been asking that all day." And I was like, "Huh?" And I was like, "I don't remember asking. This is the first time I remember asking." So I don't know how long I was out of it. And I guess we were at the dining room table. I think we were all talking and smoking and stuff. And they were like, "Yeah, you keep asking that." I was like, "This is the first time I remember asking this." So sometimes I don't know how long or far I'm out of it. I'm just having full day conversations and events that I'm missing. It's crazy. Um,
That happens to me all the time. I constantly lose what I'm doing and I don't remember it later. So I can one of my favorite memes I made was a He-Man one where he's starting to tell something and he just walks away because I can be in the middle of a conversation. I could initiate the conversation and then just stop talking and walk away and people around me are like, what the hell? And I don't later on I have no idea. I don't remember it at all. And they'll be telling me, they're like, why did you just stop talking and walk away? And I'll ask them, they're like, what are you talking about? Because I will have no idea at all the conversation. That happens to me all the time. But that could be just, the damage where I have in my head anyway, because even without seizures, I constantly forget shit all the time.
Same here. Yeah, my memory short term is over with, destroyed. Yeah, but this person was talking about memory loss before seizure now. Let's go through a comment. It says every single time, it really sucks. I have a grand mal seizures. There's always 15 to 45-minute window that I can't remember what happened. I guess that's kind of regular for me. Then I put the pieces together shortly after, but someone said I generally don't remember around a half an hour to an hour before and the same after I have a focal seizure. Damn. I thought it was gonna say a tonic that lasted all that, but a focal for an hour and a half you lost? Someone said my memory gets pretty much wiped from the day before up to 2 or 3 days afterwards. It's pretty bad.
Please take your medication as prescribed or whatever works for you. We're not doctors.